Well, it's the first of the year. It's 2019, but something has been eating at me really bad. And my starting beef, and it might surprise you who are listening for the first time, is with Giant fans. No, not all Giant fans. About 60% of Giant fans. And I'm a diehard Giant fan, but I have a problem with some of you. And that problem involves the quarterback position of the Giants. Now I know it's been a rough season. It's been brutal. Another losing season. Another time of the year where we're watching other teams play in the playoffs. And at this point of the season, we want to see heads roll. And I don't blame you. We've been bad for feels like a long time. But I'm starting to see something when I watch ESPN or listen to ESPN radio or WFAN and read other articles, and I'm sure plenty of you have too. Who is to blame for why we are where we are? And I see a lot of the blame going towards Eli Manning, the longtime quarterback for the Giants. And I hear a lot of things about Eli Manning that kind of appalls me. I've heard things that he's the worst quarterback in the league. He is the reason we are where we are. Eli Manning shoulders most of the blame. I'm tired of the same excuses for Eli Manning. Why are we not better? And some parts I can tend to agree with, and there's a lot that I don't. And I'm going to go into many aspects of what people have said about Eli Manning and try to decipher some of the misconceptions about him. So, the first thing I want to get rid of right away is that Eli Manning is a bottom 5 quarterback or one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. Let's take a look at Eli Manning's numbers. First, as a team, we were 16th in points scored, which was first in our division. First. Now that might come to shock some of you. It shocked me because in the first 8 weeks of the season, we were pathetic. Our offense was pathetic. There were times watching the Giants gave you indigestion. But 16th in the points. That's first in the division. That's not bad. For Eli Manning's numbers specifically, 9th in passing yards. That's more than Kirk Cousins, Deshaun Watson, Drew Brees, Cam Newton, Russell Wilson. 16th in completion percentage at 66%, which is a career high. He's tied with Patrick Mahomes. But it's also better than Brady, Wilson, Goff, Rodgers. Now he's 7th in completions. He's 17th in passing touchdowns, which is not great. It really isn't, don't get me wrong. But he's one behind Dak Prescott, who was 16th. And if the Giants could stop a nosebleed, he would have been 16th. He's 15th in interceptions thrown, tied with Brady and Stafford. But he's got less picks than Roethlisberger, Luck, Rivers, Goff, Mahomes. And I know what you're all thinking. Well, he got most of his yards by dinking and dunking. Right? That's why his completion percentage is high. That's why his passing yards are high. It's because he dinks it to Saquon and lets him run. Or dinks it to Odell and lets him run. Well, that's not necessarily true. He's 16th in yards per attempt at 7.5. That's higher than Rodgers, Trubisky, Newton, Luck, Cousins. Now again, you know what I also hear? Well, he can't complete the deep pass. We can't throw it deep. You heard Odell's interview with Josina Anderson earlier this year. I want to go deep. I don't want to take a slant 70 yards. Well, he's 6th in passes over 40 yards. 6th in passes over 20 yards. This doesn't sound like a guy who's a bottom 5 quarterback. Am I calling him elite? No, absolutely not. But it also didn't change the fact that Evan Ingram missed 5 games this year. Odell's missed 4 games this year. It hasn't been an ideal situation. But to call him a bottom 5 quarterback is just plain wrong. And anyone who says that has been lazy. I also want to get into another situation, which is that Eli Manning needs the perfect situation to be successful. Well, if that's true, then let me give you some numbers that might surprise you or won't surprise you. Now I know everybody loves the super analytics, the QBR, PFF, Football Outsiders, and they don't think of Eli very favorably well. And a part of me doesn't really buy into the QBR. And if I swore by QBR, then Trubisky would be a top 6 quarterback. Trubisky? Top 6? Have you seen the Bears play? No part of a Bears game have I said, wow, Trubisky's elite. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to take away from Trubisky's year, but Matt Nagy is why Trubisky is where he is, and it is not number 6 quarterback. It would also tell me that Jameis Winston's a top 10 quarterback. Jameis Winston, he's been benched twice. Ryan Fitzpatrick's a top 15 quarterback. Fitzpatrick? Top 15? Based on QBR? Man, those Buccaneers really know how to develop quarterbacks, don't they? I just don't buy it. But seeing as how PFF is pretty famous, let me give you another PFF number. And that's for the Giants' offensive line. In 2018, the Giants' offensive line is ranked 21st. 21st. That's not very good. It's not. Well, do you want to know what the Steelers' PFF rank was from one of his colleagues, Ben Roethlisberger? Number one. Yeah. Let's say you're not fancy with PFF. You want to look at Football Outsiders. Okay. Well, the Giants' offensive line is ranked 29th in run blocking. 20th in pass blocking. That's not very good either. That's not ideal. That's not perfect. That's not even average. Well, how about, let's just look at the offense as a whole. We have Saquon Barkley, an elite talent. Elite. And anyone who questions whether we should have taken Barkley or not, I don't know what else to tell you. He was doing things that we haven't seen since Eric Dickerson. But even with a talent like Saquon, our rush offense was 24th in the league. 24th. 24. That's not average. That's not good. That's a bottom third in the league with one of the top 3 back talents in the NFL. But it doesn't just run with the offense, guys. No. While our offense is rated 16th, which is first in the division, our defense is rated 23rd, which is last in the division in points allowed. Yards, 24th, last in the division. Sacks per game, 30th. Third down defense, 26th. Now, I don't know about you, but that's not average. That's not ideal. That's below average. That's bad. Now, do we even have to go into the drafting? Sure, let's do it. There's numbers for those too. The Giants are ranked 26th in the percentage of draft picks to the Pro Bowl from 2011 to 2017. 26th. You want me to read you some of the better teams? Sure. The Dallas Cowboys, number 2 in the NFL with 8 Pro Bowlers. The Philadelphia Eagles, number 6 in the NFL with 6 Pro Bowlers. The Redskins, number 9th with 6 Pro Bowlers. They're all in our division. That's not very good. Again, there are some things about Eli that I can't defend. Some of the red zone decisions are mind-numbing. Some of the times where his eye discipline, if you watch the tape, where he's staring down receivers sometimes, is inexcusable. But we've seen this before from him. We've seen this before throughout his career. But one thing that is shown, and here's another stat for you. The Giants have lost 48 times since 2014. 48, that's a lot. But 16 times they've lost in games in which they have been tied or led with 2 minutes or less in regulation. That's a third of their losses. Someone wants to explain to me that Eli Manning is holding this team back? We're not very good. What Eli has proven, though, is that he can't carry us any longer. So, there's a couple things that we can do. But let's go through the discussion that I hear very often. Eli Manning is going to hold a $23 million cap hit in 2019. So, a lot of people are suggesting that they cut Eli Manning and sign a free agent quarterback. Everyone knows that you don't save $23 mil right? There's a $6 million dead cap hit, and you're saving $17 million. But let's go through some of the options that I'm hearing a lot on ESPN, WFAN, some Giant fans around, wherever you're from. Let's start with the first most famous option that everyone loves, and that's Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater. The guy who blew out his knee and missed 2 years, in 2016 and 2017. Now, I know Teddy Bridgewater was killing everybody in preseason on the Jets, but he did get in 2018 with Week 17 versus Carolina. He was 14-22, that's 64%, 118 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a 73.7 QB rating. Is that what everyone's banging the door down? Look beyond the numbers. Watch the tape again if you can. There was a lot of missed throws, a lot of misreads, and it could be because of rust. Could be. But that's what we're banging the door about? To replace Eli Manning? Let's look at his 2015 season when he had a full season. To be fair, it was his Pro Bowl season. He had a 65.3% completion percentage, less than the 66 from Eli. He threw for 3,231 yards, which is less than Eli's 4,299 this year. He has 14 touchdowns compared to Eli's 21 touchdowns, 9 interceptions compared to Eli's 11, and 7.2 yards per attempt compared to Eli's 7.5. Wait a minute. Teddy Bridgewater's Pro Bowl season, he was worse in every number that Eli has this year. And we're losing our minds? Not to mention, the knock on Teddy Bridgewater, all I hear was that he didn't have arm strength. Where's the people who said we can't throw it deep? You'd be okay with Teddy Bridgewater? Really? Next up is the next famous one. Step right up, Nick Foles. Nick Foles. Did we forget the first 2 weeks of this season? He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception in 2 games. Did we forget the time he spent with the Rams and the Chiefs? And I get it. He has been impressive these last few weeks. He has brought the Philadelphia Eagles back from the doldrums into the playoffs. But does anyone know why? Why would Nick Foles take a 1-year deal with the Giants? And are Giant fans really even thinking about signing him to a multi-year deal? Is he bringing his offensive line with him too? Let's just say we give him a 1-year deal. It would be at 1 year around $20 million. That's the market, everybody. Just so you know, the lowest annual salary for a starting quarterback was $16 million from Andy Dalton, outside the rookie pay scale. But let's move on. Ryan Tannehill. Really? He had a worse year than Eli Manning, completion percentage, yard per attempt, and only played 11 games. Whether you hate Eli or not, there's one thing that's for sure, is that he'll be there for you. Joe Flacco. Oh, goodness gracious. All I hear from week to week is that we need a more mobile quarterback. So why not go after Joe Flacco? That makes a lot of sense. He also got hurt this year and got benched for a rookie. They changed their entire offense to a run-style oriented offense because they believe that gave him a better success than Joe Flacco. Yeah. Well, in 2018, he's got a 61.2 completion percentage, 6.5 yards per attempt, and a lower QB rating than that awful quarterback Eli Manning. Ryan Fitzpatrick, that's next up. Really? Do I have to go into it? Just ask Jet fans how they feel about Ryan Fitzpatrick. But there's another scenario that I hear people saying, and that's get rid of Eli and draft a quarterback and put him in. And although it sounds great in theory and was saving a bunch of money, do the Giant fans know that it takes a while for rookie quarterbacks to be successful? Do you think Odell Beckham will be okay with his numbers going down and a rookie quarterback struggles? And we're probably going to lose some games because of his poor play. That's all part of the course, but Giant fans are okay with that? With a win now season? Just to give a little question, Dwayne Haskins, Jones from Duke, and Locke from Missouri, those are the top 3 guys that I see right now. Dwayne Haskins, who's been the most impressive, he's a statue in the pocket. Does that change that our offensive line stinks? That we can't build our offensive line? That he's going to change our fortunes when he steps in? I don't buy it. Baker Mayfield, who had a record-breaking year, he was 6-7 in his record. They didn't make the playoffs. Sam Darnold completed less than 60% of his passes. Josh Allen, 53% of his passes. Rosen, 55%. And Allen and Rosen had more turnovers than touchdowns. Touchdown passes, excuse me. And Lamar Jackson, who is 6-1 and is tearing up the league, he completes 58% of his passes. So we're losing our minds off a guy with 66% of his passes completed and top 10 in passes over 40 yards. He has more touchdowns and a higher completion percentage than the rookies. Are Giant fans going to be okay with this? No, I have a better idea. This is what I would do if I'm the Giants. I'd go to Eli Manning and tell him pretty bluntly this. Eli, me and you, the Giants and you, we're the only two matches for each other. Outside of us, if you want to play football, I doubt it's going to happen. And I tell him, Eli, there's one of two things we can do. We can extend you 1 year, and I know everyone's going to jump down my throat. Extending him 1 year will lower his cap number and make it easier to leave in 2020 when the cap goes up. It's the truth. So I know everyone's like, oh my God, we got to add another year. It makes sense financially. Or we can ask him to take a pay cut. Now, if he doesn't like it and he retires because of it, then you go with your free agent plan. But if he accepts, if he's willing, then you make him cut the deal, whether it's extend him a year or have him take a pay cut, and in the next 2 years you find your franchise quarterback in the draft. You find him and you give up whatever draft capital you can to get him. That's the bottom line. Whether it's Dwayne Haskins, you draft him, and quite frankly, I don't know if he's ready to step in right away. But Eli Manning is the perfect bridge quarterback for the next franchise. And when that kid's ready, you send Eli on a white horse and we celebrate him to the end of time, and we have our next franchise quarterback ready. That's the only one that makes sense to me. And it should to you. Don't buy all this, another quarterback will make us a lot better. I want a guy like Andrew Luck or Russell Wilson. Wait, they're on the market? Where? Sign me up too. But it's not real. And the shade that Eli gets, yeah, there's things that are inexcusable. But he is the best option. And just like any marriage, till death do us part.